Computer.
Awesome.
Okay. Well, welcome. I'm not too sure what we're going to call this episode, but I like to invite people on to have short conversations about being innovative and doing business slightly different. I mean, COVID has given us this opportunity to relook at how we are approaching business, what we're using in our tools, how we're interacting with our clients and our team, and be slightly innovative. And I want people to use out of the box ways of thinking as well, because that way we'll train our brain to rethink in a different pattern, and we'll find, you never know what you might find when you use something that's not how you've always done it, right? So I'm really excited today. Today, Hilarie Dahl is here to talk about her new product, Mystical Business. Hi, Hilarie.
Hi, thank you so much for chatting with me today. I'm so excited.
I'm very excited about this because behind the scenes, you and I have talked about this
A long time.
For a long time. I'm really excited for it to be here. And just to let everyone know, I also participate as one of the group members in her medicine cabinet, which is a part of the Mystical Business, which I love. And so I'm going to give lots of cheers for that piece and how it's helped my own business. But Hilarie, tell everybody a little bit about who you are and why Mystical Business.
Awesome. So my name is Hilary, and I am an energy alchemist, which is a title that I made up for myself because nothing else quite seemed to fit right. And it also speaks to the work that I do, which I call energy alchemy, which is a modality that I created as a hybrid of all the different trainings that I've done and modalities that I've been exposed to. I noticed what started happening was, I would be in someone's biofield and it would want to have a conversation with me rather than just me use a protocol on it, right? Like this person has a headache, so I'm going to do the headache technique that I learned, and which is fine. There's nothing wrong with that. But I kept having this pull to be in conversation with someone's energy field, to talk to it, to see it. It plays out kind of like a movie in front of my eyes when I look at someone's field. And I can feel it in my body and on my hands in a really tactile way. And that just felt like an open door to go beyond the practical piece of my training and really step into the mystical piece of this work. And be able to respond to what someone's energy field is asking for versus what I think is the right thing for them, or what a protocol says is the right thing for them.
Right. Awesome.
Yeah. And so one of my favorite things is being able to apply that and energy alchemy as a modality to entrepreneurs and their businesses, because energies have their own business as well. Mm-hmm. And I think there's what I've noticed being a spiritual solopreneur myself is that there's not a lot of support for that. So there's a lot of tactical, practical business support. Mm-hmm. And there's a lot of spiritual support. Mm-hmm. And there's not a lot of intersection there that remains really grounded.
Yes, I would agree. Yeah.
Because I think when you start putting the two together, what tends to happen is it takes off into that more etheric realm of being spiritual without being practical.
Yes. Yeah, I would agree. And I love the part about, our businesses have their own energy too. And so we as entrepreneurs and our business with its own energy, the fields can get disrupted, or when we're not really paying attention, which has happened many times for me. The business is wanting something completely different, and we're like, no, it's got to be this way. And so this is a out of the box way of looking at that. And it definitely has helped me. It's definitely helped me slow down and really listen for the business energy. but also make sure that my energy field as an empath and as someone who's very energy sensitive
Yeah.
to help keep my field as clean as possible too, which is why I love Medicine Cabinet, which is a monthly group session that you do. And it's people are like, well, does it work as well virtually as it does in person?
Yeah.
It does. It really does.
Yeah.
And I've had many sessions like this with other practitioners virtually too. And you have to slow down. I mean, I will admit I have tried to fight the system and tried to work through a system through a session. No, it's time for you to like rest and like meditate or journal.
Yeah.
And you can listen to it on a recording too. You don't have to be on it live, but I find that it really helps me reset for the month. And the topics you pick, like this month's topic was working through anger
Yeah.
and metabolizing anger to get to our joy. And
Yeah.
you pick these, you listen, they come to you, and they always are just perfect because like, oh, it's a group. Will I still get out what I need out of it? It does tend to work that everyone can feel into that, and that's something they need right in the moment, and which I
Yeah.
have loved.
Oh, I'm so glad. I love hearing that. And it's funny because the topics every week are usually not something I plan on. Like I don't have a schedule 6 months in advance of what every month is going to be like. It very much arrives to me. It sort of drops in. And sometimes it drops in right when I start and we're all there. And sometimes it drops in 24 hours before, or I feel it even the week leading up to it. So it's interesting how it arrives based on where everyone's at and what's happening in everyone's lives and businesses.
Yeah.
But I think that is one of the beautiful things about group work. A lot of practitioners don't do group energy work, or if they do, it's very generic because it's hard to hold all of those energies and turn it into something cohesive and feel that collective energy and still get really specific with it and
Yeah.
really deep with it.
Huh.
And that's something that I love doing. It's one of my favorite things. Because I think what happens when you bring a group of people together on an energetic level is that everyone tends to come with different lacks and excesses,
Mm.
right? So we have an abundance of certain things and a lack of other things, or a need for other things. And what tends to happen when you gather a group intentionally is that those needs transfer and even out. So if you come and you're feeling angry, frustrated, right? You have like a buildup of that. Chances are there's someone in the group that actually needs that, right? Maybe they've been really passive about something, or they've needed to get stronger boundaries and just haven't had the oomph, right? The energy behind it to get there. And so that energy can clear a little from one person and transition to another to create that really beautiful balance where everybody's getting their needs met.
Oh, I love that. I never thought about it that way. That but yeah, that's it. I think that's why I like the group. I mean, I personally like individual work with you as well, but the group in Medicine Cabinet has been really powerful. And that's what was born first.
Yes, yes. So Medicine Cabinet came first, which was group energy work, which felt, like a little revolution for me because I had never formally done that before, although I'd done it lots of times informally.
Mhm.
And neither had any of my clients. So it was a leap for a lot of people.
Yeah.
And it is a very unique offering. So it's not something that can really easily be compared to an experience that you've already had.
Mhm.
And so in that sense, it was challenging as well, right? To sort of launch this brand new thing that didn't really have a lot of frame of reference for most people.
Yes. Yeah. And
Um,
I love the name though, because Medicine Cabinet came to you, and that's what it felt. It feels like it's like reaching in once a month and getting something that I need, and or that I need energetically, and that's helps me move forward into the next month. And it's still, I still love the name.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, and it's something we can all relate to, right? We've all had that experience of needing to reach into our medicine cabinet and grab something.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
Yeah. And be able to carry that out into your business, into your life, and use that as an ingredient to get something done or to feel a certain way, or to progress.
Yeah. And so now that this has led to mystical business, which
Yeah,
medicine cabinet is a part of mystical business.
it is.
So how were you led this way? Because you were doing individuals and you would do business sessions and work on
Yep.
their energy, but now you're doing business coaching
Mhm.
and through mystical business. So
Yeah.
what will this group program look like?
Yeah. So mystical business really came from that that unbridged gap I saw between business support and spiritual self-care. Um, and I was like, energy is the perfect bridge for that, right? It's the perfect thing because it has a massive impact on you and your business. It also has a massive impact on your life in general. And so, why not put those together, especially when it comes to solopreneurs and people who are in small businesses where how they are every day, where their vibration is, how their biofield is functioning has a massive impact on the efficacy of their business, on their bottom line, on how they feel day to day in their work. Um, because, when you're in a company where there are a bunch of other people, I think it's a lot easier to have a bad day and be like, oh, whatever, right? I wasn't super productive today. It's no big deal because there are tons of people around you who can pick up your slack, who can commiserate with that and offer you support. When you're a solopreneur and you have an unproductive day or an unproductive week or an unproductive month, when you're feeling off or you're feeling out of whack or you don't have the support you need, that has a really significant impact.
Yeah.
And I noticed that in my own business, and I noticed that in tons of my clients' businesses. And I was like, what's a way that I can provide support that's not just an isolated session every once in a while, but something that's a little bit broader to help them feel like they have footing under them, right? That they
Mhm.
have like a foundation that they can stand on that includes, access to me as a sounding board. So not necessarily a session, but something like office hours, right? Where people can show up and just say, "Hey, I'm toying with this thing and this is the energy of it. Is that good? Should I change it? Can I change it? How do I change it?" Right? Like what's my discernment around my next step? For anything, right? Because
Yeah.
I think in business, we have to make a million decisions and we're always creating and we're always thinking about, how can I serve and what comes next? And so I wanted to be able to provide that support, not just on a personal self care level, but also on a business support level, um, that was a little bit more far reaching than just a one off session.
Yeah. I love this. Because it's like it's not like we have to learn a new tool. We don't have to chase a new shiny bauble. We don't have to, somebody
Nope.
else doesn't have the answer. We actually do have all the answers.
Yeah.
And for a lot of us, mostly I find that, oh, sorry, that was not great for the recording. But mostly for women too, it helps to talk about it. We want to
Yeah.
talk with somebody, and we usually, as solopreneurs, will have a partner or have somebody in our life where they aren't entrepreneurs and they don't they don't get it, and they can only take so much of our talking process. Uh,
Yeah.
and so, but that's part of that energy, right? Is that's how we're moving energy, is we're talking through it.
Absolutely.
So
Absolutely, right? Verbalizing stuff moves energy. That is a form of energy work. Talk is a form of energy work.
yeah,
And a lot of people, a lot of solopreneurs especially, are verbal processors, and who they have to process with are like friends who may or may not be business owners and want to hear about this thing that they're launching or thinking about doing for the millionth time, or partners, right? And it helps to have a sounding board that has experience, right? That knows what you're in the midst of and wants to hear, wants to provide support or encouragement or help you find your center, your clarity, your next move.
Yeah, I love this. So I think when I was in that spot, when I had no one else to talk to at that time, I was reaching out for shiny bottles, and I was spending, and I was not
Totally.
implementing, because it's when you're in that space, we don't really have time to implement somebody else's idea or process. And the energy was always kind of icky because it felt like we were grasping and grasping and grasping.
Yeah.
Um, and so I wonder what this would have done to
Right.
my business before I went to grow would have been, I think, a firmer place. Maybe my
Mm.
growth would have, I bet my growth would have gone a lot different.
Yeah, right. Because
Oh,
it's different when
yeah,
there's someone there who's helping you stay steady,
yeah,
right?
yeah,
And I think that happens a lot. I mean, I experienced that too in business where I was just like, I'm sure someone else has the answer, right? And how things are marketed is like, I can make you a millionaire in 6 weeks. And like maybe that's an exaggeration, but not always.
yeah,
um, and I think it's really easy to start grasping at those things like, let me learn new stuff rather than implement, because
yeah,
implement takes a lot more energy and it takes a lot more focus. And
yeah,
that can be really hard to cultivate for yourself and generate for yourself when all you want to do is like just sign a new client.
yeah, yeah. And usually that signing of that new client is usually what's happening is maybe you're having conversations, but energetically you're pushing them away because either you
Yeah,
feel like you're too overwhelmed, or you've got too many things, or too much paper clutter, or too much clutter that's like
totally.
you can't feel because you're feeling like you don't have the space. And so energetically we keep pushing this away. And so when we can clear out our energy
Mhm.
and realign our own energy, then we can open up to receive more clients in. And so, which is why I think this is great. Now, they're going to have access to medicine cabinets, which is a group session, an energy group session once a month,
Yep.
but they're also going to have access to co-working, and you're creating a community, which is one of the things from COVID. Again, let's rethink innovation about
Mm.
how we're interacting with other people. And you're going to have this big library of stuff for them to access.
Yeah. Yeah. So there's a library of a lot of my past work and a lot of new content that I've created. There's also co-working and office hours. And about once a month, I'm going to be doing a live kind of like lunch and learn sort of thing where I'll teach a skill. So it's not going to be here's content that you need to go digest on your own. It's going to be let's practice something right now, right? Let's do it right now so that it can become part of our repertoire rather than here's something and you need to go integrate it on your own time. Um, because I think that's a lot of times where we get caught with that stack of stuff that we still, haven't really gone through to process.
Yes.
So it's definitely going to be integration and implementation heavy in all of those areas. And it's mostly focused on energetic self care
Mhm.
and energetic business care and the intersection of those two.
I love it. Now, we didn't talk about this before, but is there one thing in the library that you think people will go to time and time again? I'm thinking of one, but I want to know what yours is.
Yeah. So there are two things that pop into my mind. The first is how to talk to your business.
Yeah, yeah,
And how to be in that conversation and cultivate that conversation. Because that's something that is not taught out in the industry at all. And it's something that I um, really love and find to be a super potent tool for business owners. Um, and mystics in general, I think, to be able to like have a conversation with your higher self or have a conversation with your body or have a conversation with your guides, right? There's nobody really teaching us how to do that. There's just people saying, do it. And so that's one of my favorite pieces is how to have that conversation, how to cultivate it and keep it going.
Nice. Nice.
Yeah. And I think the other one is how to amp up your growth energy.
Yeah.
Yeah. So that's something that most people are looking for.
Yeah.
And
And
again, like it's not really taught in the industry, right? On an energetic level,
no.
there are practical things to do, right? There is an endless amount of like sales funnel trainings and stuff like that, right? But not a lot of how do you actually amp up the growth energy of your business and prime it for that.
Yeah. And I think that's very, very timely because a lot of solopreneurs maybe had to change how they were doing business because of COVID. And as we come out of it, that stagnant energy that we probably have had laying around, and coming out of winter, coming into spring, so that natural energy of growth is coming in. But how do we also reflect that to our business and like dust it off and give it its own, and a little energy cleaning and like, okay, now what would we like to do? Because I think it's just we're still a little stuck into. There's a lot of things stuck in society right now, but businesses in general are like, how do we move forward? And so those are probably some of my two favorites.
Yeah, I'm really excited about those. And it's stuff that, I've taught on before, but this is going to be a very different way of delivering that. And it's going to give people unlimited access to that once they're in the group.
Yeah. And I love it's a membership. So people can come in and out or right. And the price point you have, I think, just for they're going to include medicine cabinet. So medicine cabinet is, it practically pays for business. But what's your price point on it?
So it's $88 a month.
$88 a month. So $88 a month, you're going to get a group's energy clearing session. You have co-working and open office hours. You're going to get a library. You're going to do a community, and you're doing the community through
Mighty Networks.
Yeah.
So it's not a Facebook group.
Yes. And which I have really enjoyed. I've done a few groups in Mighty Networks, and I have enjoyed that interaction.
Yeah.
I usually use it on my iPad. I don't have it on my iPhone. And once a day, usually in the evening, I'm checking in and commenting and things, and I'm finding it helpful.
I'm really enjoying that as a platform to work on. It took me a little while to like figure it out and get used to it because I think we're all so used to Facebook. But I think it's a very welcome shift, if only for like the privacy and lack of ads.
Yes. And then you're going to do a lunch and learn too. So they're going to learn a skill or learn how to practice a skill that they can increase, not just learn something that they're not going to implement into their business.
Yeah, exactly. So we're going to implement it right then so they can see what it looks like, what it feels like to do that particular energy practice.
Yeah. And so ideal people that would be interested in this, of course, we've talked about solopreneurs, people that have mystical businesses, people that already know about energy clearings, entrepreneurs that don't have anybody else to talk about that, but are interested in learning out of the box ways of looking at how their stuck patterns are showing up in their business and in themselves. And anybody, anywhere, really.
Yeah, absolutely. So there's a lot in there that doesn't even have to do with business. That's like just really applicable stuff for people who are on any kind of spiritual path that want some support. And I was talking about it with somebody the other day, and they said something like, it's almost like church for people who don't want to go to church anymore, right? Who like don't do that anymore, who have evolved past, that. And of course, not that there's anything wrong with going to church, but for a lot of people, who were like raised with religion and now identify more as spiritual, it can be hard to find those communities where you can be your spiritual, mystical self and still receive some kind of community and support. Um, Beyond social media, beyond following people that you like their ideology and stuff like
Yeah.
that.
Yeah. I love this. And yeah, I hadn't thought about that, but there is a group I belong to just because of the spirituality and
Yeah.
so yeah, interesting. Um, and you're just launching it. It's just
I'm just launching it. It's a baby right now. So right now the process to join the community is actually a short little interview for them and for me, right?
yeah,
So that we're on the same page and they can feel really comfortable and get their questions answered without any kind of pressure. And I can make sure that it's a right fit because I feel like uh, that's also part of my commitment to the community that's being created is that I'm just not letting every single person who's interested in before they talk with me and I vet them.
yeah. No, I
Yeah.
like that. Yeah, and right now this is really center for that as people are coming in and they're getting there's a word for it. I've just lost it, but it's that initial founding members.
Yeah, exactly.
It's the founding
Exactly.
community part
It
of it.
is.
So
It is. And I'm sure a lot of them will be current clients of mine because, of course, those are the first people being introduced to it.
yeah,
But I'm also welcoming people who are outside of that as well. And there's no obligation to have like one-on-one sessions with me or anything like that. They can just be part of the community and benefit from that information, that support on their journey.
yeah, yeah. I'm just really excited. Congratulations again.
Thank you. Well, and it would not, I can honestly say it would not be happening without Connie. Because she was the one that right from the very start was like, oh, you should do that.
Yeah, I've been really excited. We meet once a month as accountability partners, and I've been really excited as this has been birthed. From idea to like actual to be concrete and really out in the world now. So I'm honored to help support
Ugh,
getting this
yeah,
out to people because I think it's unique. It's unique, and
it's unique.
I spend a lot of space in the unicorn area too, and um,
Totally.
it's needed. I spend a lot of time myself making sure as just cleaning my own energy as I show
Yeah.
up for things and making sure that I'm grounded and that I'm using my intuition skills. But again, it's a muscle. It's not something
It's a
I just
muscle.
click on or off. It's something I have to work at and play with. I think is the key piece is like playing
Yeah.
with it and trying different things out and to find the right thing and uh, being reminded of it. So the best way to
Yeah.
do that is to be in community, to create a habit or a ritual around it, and be open to exploring new things to include in
Yeah.
your ritual too.
Yeah.
Um, and how to do quick rituals. Like uh,
Totally.
I love to, if I have the space, and I try to have space, and I have a whole opening my office ritual I do, but
Mm,
if for
yeah.
some reason the day is not going that well, I also have an energy spray that I grab and I spray and I can go
Yeah.
into it. But knowing that before I do an interview, before I have a conversation with a client, is that I've got
Yeah.
to ground myself and clear my energy space so that I can be there and hold it for somebody else. And
Yeah.
that takes a lot. And if we're
It
not taking
does.
care of ourselves after that, that's where things get cloudy. That's where we start making decisions that
Totally.
aren't growing our business. They're being more stagnant. And
Right. And I think it lowers our impact too, right? Like if you're going to be interviewed on a podcast, you want that interview to be impactful for
yeah,
yourself, for your business, for your visibility, and for the people who hear it. And I think the more energetically tuned in you are, the clearer your field is, the more centered you are, the more grounded you are, the stronger that impact.
yeah, yeah. I love it.
Mm.
I love that. So I'm
Yeah.
so excited. Congratulations again.
Thank you. Me
Um,
too.
we will, of course, link you in the bio, but if you want to give, how do people get a hold of you
Sure.
to make this little conversation to see if they're a
Yeah.
right fit for the community?
So they can email me at healing@hilarymae.com. They can also contact me through my website, which is hilarymae.com. And they can contact me via Instagram. And my handle is also, guess what? Hilary Mae. Making it easy.
You did so well at that. And it's nice and simple and easy. And if you're at all curious, do make the time to have a conversation with Hilary. Again, it's not going to be any pressure. That's not how she rolls. It's just going to be a conversation about whether you're ready to look at business consulting, coaching, and energy in a different way and in a different container. And I, I think you guys will love it. Maybe I'll see you in medicine cabinet.
Yay.
I'm a big supporter of that. So
Well, and we are honored to have you. It's such a pleasure.
Thank you. Thank you. I really love it. So anyway, welcome Mystical Business to the world.
Yay. I feel like I should like shoot off little sparklers or something.
And thank you, Hilary, for taking time today to tell me all about it and to tell all the viewers as well.
Thank you so much for having me.
Thanks.